Hey, guess what? I'm about to tell you something that if you don't know this already, you're going to be like that guy, that guy. You've seen that guy. You know what I'm talking about. What do they call that? A meme? Is that what you young people call it? Your mind is about to be blown. A few weeks ago, Lisa and I uploaded a video that was a skit where I played a journalist interviewing the CEO of a major big box pet store. And one of the questions that I asked her in that video, which was a lot of fun, by the way, if you haven't watched it, shame on you. It hurts my feelings that you didn't watch that. My feelings are really hurt because not a lot of people watched it, but it was a lot of fun to do. One of the questions that I asked her in that completely fake thing was, the fish from big box pet stores are unanimously looked at by the hobby as being not so good. They're not the best fish. What is your response to that? And we had a lot of fun with it. If you haven't seen that video, I will put a card up in the corner for it. Again, make my feelings better. Make an old man feel better about himself. Go watch that video. It really was a lot of fun to do, and you'll see a different side of Lisa that you've never seen. But anyway, that question, not that question, but that statement is out there. It's everywhere. It's pretty much a unanimous thing. People think once they've been in this hobby for a little while, they think the fish from big box pet stores are horrible. I'll never buy fish from that place because they're so bad. They get them from the worst sources and all this kind of stuff. Well, what if I was to tell you that that is completely false? What if I was to tell you that if you have been led to believe that, you've been misled? What if I was to tell you that they're buying those fish from the same places that your local fish store's buying them from? Would that blow your mind? Well, guess what? It's the truth. Not 100%, but it is the truth. There is not distribution companies out there that are exclusive to the big box pet stores. They're just not. They're buying them locally from a lot of places. In fact, I have personal experience with this through friends. I don't know if that makes sense, but I know people in the industry, and I have two people that I've worked with in the past. One of them was a major distributor for all of the Northern Virginia area, Washington, D.C., Southern Maryland. The other is a very, very, very prominent distributor in the East Coast. And I know both of these people personally. One of them had a deal with, I believe it was PetSmart, and the other refused to sell to them. And we'll get into that, but I'm not going to give names or anything like that. But these are people that I know personally that I worked with. I bought stuff from them and still do. From one of them, the other one went out of business. I wonder why. But anyway, let me just tell you the story. When Lisa and I had our fish store way back in the day, if you didn't know that we owned a fish store, well, it's because it's something that we're trying to forget because we failed at it. But anyway, we had a distributor that we dealt with that is no longer in business, but we would go and buy dry goods from them, and we would buy fish from them. And we had the luxury of being able to go there and actually hand select our fish. We had a good relationship with this company, and Lisa would actually go there and they'd give her a net, and she would literally take the fish that she wants, put them in buckets. They would bag them up for her. And it was a beautiful thing. So the fish that we had at our fish store were hand selected by Lisa. It was very cool. It was an all day thing. But anyway, one of the days that we were up there, there was a person with a PetSmart shirt on, or it might've been Petco, but I think it was PetSmart. We're talking about well over 10 years ago. But I remember saying to to the owner of the distributor, hey, that guy's wearing a PetSmart shirt. You don't sell to PetSmart, do you? And he was like, of course I do. Why wouldn't I sell to them? They buy a lot of fish. And I was like, well, I'll be damned. They're buying fish from the same place that I buy fish? Who'd have thunk? But it was true. I don't know if all PetSmarts or Petcos or any of them buy from local distributors, but there was like 12 or 14 PetSmarts around that distributor. There was a whole lot of them, and they needed fish. It made sense to do that. The guy that was there was a buyer just like we were, and he was there selecting fish that he wanted to bring in to his store, into his PetSmart. What, I don't know who the guy was, but I'm just saying, I don't know how many stores he dealt with, but that's what was happening. And again, it was from the same place that we were buying our fish from. If you've never heard this before, your mind is blown right now. My mind was blown at the time. I was like, wow, something feels weird about this. Like, everybody says the fish from that place are bad. I'm buying my fish from the same place. Like, does that mean I'm buying bad fish? No, it doesn't mean that at all. My fish that I sold weren't bad. It wasn't the fish that we were selling that ran us out of business. It was us not knowing what we were doing that ran us out of business. But that's a whole other story. I've told that story way too many times about our fish store. I'm not going to tell it again. It's a sore subject for me, but it had nothing to do with the quality of the fish that shut us down. But anyway, my mind was blown. It made me feel weird, but it is the truth. They have to get their fish from somewhere. It costs them significantly less money to buy from local distributors than it would be to import them directly or to go through transshippers or whatever. It makes sense to do that. The fish are local. It supports local businesses, but it's not a perfect system. And that's where my other friend comes in. One of my close personal friends owns a very successful distribution company. Lisa and I buy a ton of our stuff from there that we sell on our website. Almost all of our dry goods come from them. And we get fish from them too sometimes to put in our own tanks. Their fish are great. I was having a conversation with him one day and we talked about this very subject. And he said, "Oh, I am not working with those companies. I will not sell to those companies." And I thought, oh, is it because of the way they keep their fish in the stores, which is something that we will talk about as we go on? He said, no, it's because because they're so big, they're such a big company, and because they deal in so many fish, they basically want to control everything, and they want to control pricing, and they want the fish to be a certain way and come from a certain place, and you have to feed them a certain thing, and you have to keep them, and you have to sell them at way less than what you would sell them to fish stores and stuff like that. And this guy that we're talking about here, he deals nationwide. He sells to fish stores all over the place. And he was like, there was no money in it. I couldn't make any money in it because they basically say, if you're going to sell to us, this is how much you're going to sell it to us for. And you have to do that because we're big time and we have so many stores and all of this kind of stuff. He was like, I entertained it, but no, I'm in the business to make money, not give thousands and thousands of fish a month away to a company so that they can sell them and make a big profit. So, I'm not saying that their system of doing things is perfect, but what I am saying is, guess what? They buy fish from the same places that your local fish store is, most likely. And that doesn't mean that they're bad fish, but we do have to get into the other angle of things here. There is a good argument to be made that once the fish get to those big box pet stores, they're not kept as good as they would be if they were kept at your local mom and pop store. I've been into a lot of big box stores, lots of them. I don't even know how many. With the exception of a couple, I would agree with that argument. I think it's true. Your local mom and pop store is smaller. They're on top of things more. And in a lot of cases, it's exclusively a fish store. So everybody that's in that store is only focused on fish. They're not focused on fish plus dogs and cats and horses and all of that other stuff. They put all of their focus into the fish, and they're paid, these employees at these local mom and pop pet stores, or it might be the owner themselves. Their livelihood depends on keeping those fish, keeping them well, and selling the customer a good product. When you're talking about the big box pet stores, again, I've seen the exceptions here, but the big box stores, they don't typically care as much. The employees don't have as much of a vested interest in keeping the fish perfectly. The fish just go into the system, and that's just where they are. And if things go wrong, they don't really know what to do. They don't know how to react. They don't know how to save the fish. They don't know how to, I can't speak today, how to prevent whatever's going on from spreading to everything else, because they are on recirculating systems, which I'm not particularly against recirculating systems, but I understand some people that are. They're thinking, well, if one fish has this, it's going to spread to everybody else. I think it's pretty much unanimous all the way across the board. The big box pet stores deal exclusively with recirculating systems. It just is what it is. And the problem isn't the aquarium system itself. The problem is the people there not really knowing what to do if things go bad. And so you end up with a whole system full of contaminated fish or whatever it is, where at your local pet store, your local mom and pop store, I want to be very specific here, the employees, the staff, the owners, they know what to do. If things go wrong, they know how to prevent it. They know, some of them quarantine their fish, or they know something where when they look in the bag, they're like, oh, there's a problem with these fish. We need to put them in that tank over there, isolated, so that we don't expose the entire system. Whatever it is, they know how to react to those scenarios. So I'm not going to put up an argument with anybody that they're kept as good in those big box pet stores as they are at your local mom and pop. So I still would encourage you to buy from those local mom and pops. I'm not against the big box pet stores. I don't hate them. I think they hold a valuable place in this hobby, and I think we need them for our hobby to continue growing. I'm not going to sit here and crap all over them, but I will definitely agree with those that say, well, the fish might come from the same source, but they're not treated very good when they get there. But I guess the flip side of that is I've seen local mom and pops not take good care of their fish too. So I don't know. But the bottom line is this. Most of your fish that are bred for the aquarium industry are going to be bred in Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, and the United States. The United States, not as much as the others, but those are going to be most likely where your fish are going to originate when they're bred. They are shipped to the United States to distributors throughout the country. Your local fish store is going to order from those distributors, and that's how they get their fish in their store. Most local fish stores are going to deal with multiple distributors because this company doesn't have these don't have those, whatever it is, to be able to accommodate the demand of their customers. They're probably going to order from multiple different places, but guess what? PetSmart and Petco, big box pet stores in general, I know there's others, they're buying from those same places. I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. Yeah, they might jerk the owners of those distributors around by not giving them very good prices, but apparently they're treating some people good because those stores are always full of fish. So they're getting them from somewhere. Apparently somebody's happy with the prices that they're giving them. So don't get all caught up in they're from a bad source. The fish at big box stores are from bad farms. They're not. They're from the same farms. If you don't want to buy from them because you think they're treated badly at the big box pet stores, I'm not going to argue with you. Even though Lisa and I were taken to the back of a PetSmart one time and we saw the system and I was like, good Lord, this looks like something from a public aquarium. It was like this massive thing, like big room size tanks and filters. And I didn't even know what half this stuff did. I was like, wow, like this is impressive what's happening. I don't know. I'm not trying to argue about the fish not being kept properly. I'm just saying their systems are impressive. So if the fish aren't kept good, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, And I'm talking exclusively PetSmart. It may be different now. This was like 15 years ago that we went to the what do you call it? Restricted area of the PetSmart. I don't know why that manager at the time wanted to take us back there. Like, we were nobodies. We still are. She just was like, you want to see it? Yeah, let's go. And it was pretty cool. And it opened my eyes. I don't think Petcos are that way. I think Petcos are more smaller, like the Mars systems. But this particular Petco or PetSmart had a very sophisticated system. So their fish should have been fine. I mean, we're probably talking about $1 million system here. But anyway, I understand for people that say, well, once they get to those stores, they don't keep them very well, so I'll never buy from them. That's fine. But they're from the same source. And if you didn't know that, your mind is probably blown right now, because I didn't know that until I knew it. And when I knew it, I was like, whoa, that's crazy. Anyway, rambling at this point. Hey, I don't know if you know this. I have a website. It's called keepfishkeeping.com. If you want to buy fish stuff, that's a great place to do it. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.